Welcome to my channel. This is African Duchess. First off, a quick disclaimer. All information here is based on public records and recent news as of 2025. Today, we're diving into the glittering world of Tanzanian politics with none other than President Samia Suluhu Hassan, the first female president of Tanzania. What a milestone, they told us. When a woman leads, there will be empathy and kindness. Tanzania hate that. And they said, let's test the theory. Fast forward today. Meet Mama Samia. Polite voice, elegant dress, and a political grip.
I, Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania. It gives me great pride and pleasure to endorse the candidacy of Professor Mohamed Yakub Janabi for the post of Regional Director of the World Health Organization for Africa for the term 2025-2030. Vote for Tanzania. Together, we can make a difference for the people of Africa. Together, we can build a healthier, resilient, and prosperous Africa. Together, we can overcome the odds because together, we are stronger. I count on your continued support and thank you very much.
She doesn't shout. She doesn't fight. She is just the calmest president Africa has ever feared to question.
Tarehe 27 Novemba ni siku ambayo tutaendeleza utamaduni wetu wa kupata viongozi wetu kwa njia ya uchaguzi. Tutakwenda kuwachagua viongozi wetu wa mitaa, vijiji na vitongoji kwa kipindi cha miaka 5 ijayo. Hii ni fursa muhimu kwa kila Mtanzania mwenye sifa ya kupiga kura kuchangia maendeleo ya nchi kwa njia ya kidemokrasia kwa kuchagua kiongozi mwenye sifa. Serikali za mitaa ni msingi wa ujenzi wa taifa imara na lenye maendeleo endelevu. Kupitia viongozi tunaowachagua, tunaweka misingi thabiti ya uwajibikaji, utoaji wa huduma bora kwa wananchi na usimamizi wa rasilimali za umma.
A woman who was never supposed to be a president, but today she runs Tanzania like an iron fist inside a velvet glove. This year, Tanzania, a land of serene safaris and a reputation for calm, faced an election that will decide if it retains its quiet charm or succumbs to the region's favorite hobby, political drama. Mama Samia was and is at the center of it all. But as the campaign drum grew louder, one question remained: can the Queen of Calm survive the coming storm? She doesn't shout. She doesn't fight. She is the Iron Lady.
Moshiraha Kilimanjaro, Kilimanjaro raha. Kwa Pwani unastahili pongezi za pekee kwa kasi kubwa ya maendeleo ya viwanda, ambapo idadi imeongezeka kutoka viwanda 1387 mwaka 2020 hadi viwanda 1600. Tunakwenda kujenga kituo cha mikutano ya kimataifa kipya. Baada ya kile cha AICC, tunakwenda kujenga ukumbi mwingine mkubwa sana utakao kuwa na hoteli na fursa zote za mikutano ndani ya jiji la Arusha. Lakini pia
Mama Samia's rise to presidency began with shock, mourning, and a glimmer of hope when former President John Magufuli passed on in March 2021.
Tanzania's late President John Magufuli was laid to rest Friday in his ancestral village in the country's northwest after a sudden death last week from an illness shrouded in mystery. Nicknamed the bulldozer for his leadership style, Magufuli was buried in Chateau after nearly a week being mourned by crowds in various cities as his casket was moved around the country. Magufuli died 61 from what authorities say was a heart condition after a mysterious absence of almost 3 weeks, and questions remains over the true cause of his death, which the opposition says was from COVID-19.
Mama Samia was everything her predecessor wasn't: soft-spoken, diplomatic, and a listener. To the world, she was seen as a breath of fresh air, a reformer in a land exhausted by fear and fire. They call her Mama Samia, mother of democracy, voice of moderation, a symbol of what post-Magufuli Tanzania could become. At first, she played her part perfectly. Political prisoners were released. Journalists dared to write again. Opposition leaders resurfaced after years in hiding. And the West, they loved her. The New York Times wrote glowing pieces. Foreign investors smiled again. Even the IMF nodded approvingly. But power, as Africa has taught us time and time again, it's not a crown you wear. It's a virus you catch. By late 2022, the tone began to change. Her critics say she mastered the Magufuli method: rule softly in public, but an iron hand in private. One by one, opposition figures began facing mysterious charges. Odd laws, the kind used by previous regimes, started making a comeback, and media houses that had tasted freedom started coughing again. Then came 2024, the year the mask slipped. In October, a major newspaper was suspended online for 30 days. It's a crime to publish anything that talks about the disappearances of opponents, because apparently, even hinting at a reality now accounts for defamation. The message was clear: speak freely, but not too freely. Like the Ugandan Idi Amin, there is freedom of speech, but the freedom after the speech cannot be guaranteed. As Tanzania edged toward the 2025 general election, the story wrote itself. Opposition leaders were either disqualified, detained, or investigated. Public rallies were heavily monitored, sometimes mysteriously disrupted.
Tanzania's Electoral Commission on Monday said it had disqualified opposition presidential candidate Mpina for the second time. The Commission's move comes just a few days after Mpina successfully challenged the first decision in court to disqualify him. The court ruling had forced the Commission to approve Mpina's nomination, a decision now reversed. The ACT Wazalendo dismissed the disqualification as baseless and politically motivated. Mpina's exclusion leaves President Samia Suluhu Hassan a clear run at next month's general election, with only candidates from minor parties allowed to compete. The leading opposition party, Chadema, was disqualified in April after failing to sign the Electoral Code of Conduct as part of its call for electoral reforms. Chadema's leader, Tundu Lissu, has been in jail for over 5 months after being charged with treason. He has denied all accusations. Rights groups say Lissu's detention and being...
The internet occasionally underwent maintenance, usually right when political tensions peak, but the government insists everything's fine, the same way Idi Amin said it in his time. In Uganda, there is peace. People can say whatever they like, but they must say it at the right time and in the right place. In Tanzania, they call it maintaining order. Critics call it strategic democracy, a new African art form where elections happen but choices don't. And through it all, Mama Samia smiles, calm, collected, and always measured. The motherly tone never changes. She talks about development, peace, and national unity. Because in modern-day African playbook, democracy is not about choice. It's about choreography. It's not that Tanzania is unique. This story has been told before over and over again. Zambia had its own version, probably having a reformed version now. Uganda has perfected it. One-man show. Nigeria rehearses it every election cycle. A reformer rises, then the people rejoice, and then somewhere along the way, reforms turns into regime. And yet, there is something particularly tragic about Tanzania's case, because this was the one that looked different, the one that could have set a new standard, the one where leadership and empathy finally met. But politics, it seems, never changes its favorite game. Give the people hope and then manage their disappointment.
Chaos erupted as protesters scattered when stun grenades were fired, with tear gas clouds rising over the streets. Kenyan authorities have warned they would enforce the law on their side of the border. An opposition spokesperson said that around 700 people had been killed across the country.
October 29, vote devout to day 2 apocalypse. The electoral body declares Mama Samia the winner today. In an election marred by intimidation of opponents, her first elected term, which may run from now until 2030. Election where Tundu Lissu was jailed on treason fabrications. John Heche, jailed after being detained while attending Lissu's treason trial. Luhaga was disqualified on procedural grounds. Not free and fair election in any way.
Cha 10 cha sheria ya uchaguzi wa rais wa bunge na madiwani, sheria namba 1 ya mwaka 2024, umechaguliwa kuwa rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania katika uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka 2025 uliofanyika tarehe 29 mwezi Oktoba mwaka 2025. Naomba sasa nikukabidhi hati ya kuchaguliwa kuwa rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
If you like my content, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Don't forget to share this video to support what we're doing here. Thank you.